So I have just gone through and stitched seams for my pockets. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to take all these loose threads and I'm just going to clip them off just to get them out of my way for the next couple of steps here. And it makes it look more tidy, just to get these little threads out of the way where you backstitch on your pockets. And you can do it on the front, you can do it on the back, however you want to do that. So, shake it out real quick. Now, what you got at the bottom is a mess. Okay, you see all that gunky looking stuff going on there. But that's okay because like I said before, I'm going to trim it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set this down on my board and lay it flat. Take my straight edge, line it up with my bag, not my pockets, but my bag. And I'm going to do a quick, just trim it up. Trim it up real quick. And make sure I have it all the way down here. Straight. Quick trim. Okay? So now I have my pockets trimmed. They're all where I left off. Straight. Okay, so we went and we trimmed our pocket section and we got it straight with our bag section. And now what we're left with are holes in the bottom. So we need to fix that. And this is the task that's going to take you the longest of this whole entire thing. It doesn't even take that long. And my husband has joined us back behind us here, so if you hear weird noises, it's probably him. Okay, so I'm going to take my first pocket and I'm going to fold it over onto itself, and I'll show you what this looks like in just a second. And pin it down. Okay, so what you're looking at, here's one section pinned down. Okay, so I'm going to do the second pocket, and I'm going to take it and sort of like accordion it. See how it's flat now? And take a pin, stick it through all the layers, and bring this one, and I'm going to pin it all the way up to my seam. I don't want to cross over my seam. See how this one is? Here's my seam right here if I don't pin myself. And now it's all the way up to the seam. All the way up to the seam, but not crossing over it. I'll pin this one down. And I'll do both sides of each pocket that way until I get to the last pocket. So last pocket, all the way up to that seam. Pin that down. Okay. So there you go. All right. So now we're going to take our sewing machine.
Defcon 721.
And we're going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Again, you don't have to back stitch.
755.
Just straight stitch is fine.
721. See you, Mario.
And just all the way across. Don't forget to take your pins out as you go. You might forget them and you poke yourself later on. I've done that. to stitch. There we have our pockets that are actually pockets now. They're no longer, holes in the bottom. So there you go. Now once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and put your right sides together, double it over like this, and line up your half-inch seam allowances on the edge. And especially where your pockets are, you want to kind of tuck those in away from your edge. Line up your ends. If you want to pin it, you certainly can pin it. I do it freehand. Just as long as you have your half-inch seam allowance going and your pockets are sort of pushed back in there. And then just do a stitch straight down. Corners, half-inch. And at this point, go ahead and stitch forward a little bit, and then back stitch on this bottom edge. Take a minute to check every once in a while, make sure those pockets are pushed back. Make sure your edges are straight. And at the top, I don't backstitch because I'm going to be ripping the seam out of this top section anyway. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and open it up against the seam. Take off my little extension there. Then I'm going to go ahead and flatten it out. I'm going to flatten my seam open. And then I'm going to take my long ruler and I'm going to measure 2.5 inches from the edge. And then I'm going to put a mark because I'm going to stitch along this section here on both sides and across the bottom. And when you do this part, be careful. Make sure that you're not stitching the other side into it. Put it in about maybe a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, and back stitch to the top. And stitch down. All the way down to that mark you made. Okay. Then flip it 1/4 turn. Then you go forward a little bit. Then back stitch across that mark. stitch. And that's in the other room. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it one more time and then stitch down the other side. And then I'm going to back stitch again to bind the edge down. Okay. Cut my thread.
Okay, I'm not gonna talk, I guess we'll hang up.
And then trim off my excess threads.
They hung up first.
Mm.
It's actually.
And then I'm going to go ahead and rip my seam. As you can see, I made a little box around here on the seam. Now I'm going to rip my seam down the middle here. All the way down. And this is an important step because this is how you're going to end up turning your bag with your lining, and this is also where you're going to put your tie for the bag. And this little hole, through this little hole right here. So we got everything trimmed down. Now we have a little V right here. Okay.